I'm a very passionate individual. I love what I do. To me, coming to work is not work. To me, it's just waking up in the morning and coming to a place where I love to be. Building the culture in the kitchen is one of those things, a passion of mine, to bring people in and have them feel like they're at home. My staff comes in and they want to hang out off the clock, or they want to come in early to see a demo or something. So I'm just very passionate. I love to teach people. I love to learn. So I was born in Mexico. I came to the States when I was 6. My uncles had restaurants. We lived in the restaurant when we were kids, learning how to do even the simplest tasks to stay out of trouble. My mom was like, do this, clean the tables, help us here. And it was just something that we were always kind of involved doing. You know, for me, cooking has to be a little bit of both. You have to have a good balance. It's important for me to have my hands in creating the dishes and creating the flavor. You know, as a culinarian, you start out and you learn these basics, these techniques, how to braise, how to saute. So, you know, those things, like, you know, it's the foundation of who you are. So for me, I have to be both a little bit. But, you know, kind of sharing the load with my sous chef, Frank, and kind of having him like my vision and this is how we're going to go, and having input. I'm good on taking input from my staff. I think it's important to hear everyone else out. It's not just about me, or it's not just about you, it's about the team together. So yeah, the hours are long, but it doesn't feel as long because of, you know, the people that come in, the people that you hire. You get to learn about them and talk to them. Hey, how was your day? Learning about them, and you know, they want to learn about you. Hey, what did you do? And hey, what was your day off? What did you cook? So I'm more of a homebody. I like to go out to eat to restaurants, but the thing for me is, you know, I you know, like Spanish cuisine and my cuisine, being from Mexico, it's something that it's hard to find a restaurant that kind of is like grandma or mother cooking. So I like to do a lot of that at home. You know, those recipes instilled in me. I cook them, you know, often, probably not as often as I should now, but definitely on my days off, I like to cook, and I like to make a mole. I like to make albóndigas and I don't know, just simplest things as rice. You know, it's like those things that I come home, I'm like, yay, you know. For me, it's how I feel that day. You know, sometimes you wake up and you're like, you know, I feel like I want something heavier, and then the inspiration for like a short rib comes in. I want something lighter, the inspiration for like the ensalada de tomate, or you use our summer tomatoes. So those inspirations come on a daily basis. So whenever you're put to create one menu, you know, the same day, it's kind of like you're kind of forcing yourself. So it was a process of creating a few dishes at a time, so that way it's authentic to me. It's easy just to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, but you know, dishes that are personal and authentic to me take some time. So depending on how that morning and how that day feels, and how energetic we all feel about it. You know, sometimes you're like, you know, I wish I was curled up in a ball and, you know, watching TV and eating popcorn. So certain things inspire that moment. Some days I wake up full of energy and I'm like, yeah, I want this, I want that. So there's an everyday inspiration. Colors, shapes. So at home, I have to have something spicy all the time. So it's different because Spanish cuisine is not spicy. Right now, the most important thing, I would say, we're using a lot of our pata negra that we have, we display and we sell by the ounce. It's an imported ham. It's salted for 6 months and then aged for 4 years. And there's only a handful of ham experts, I guess. And they come and they check it to make sure it's done and it's cured properly. So, you know, there's a lot of, those pigs only eat acorns, so they're really nutty and buttery. I like to compare it like a cashew. When you eat it, it's like moist and nutty versus like a peanut. So we trim some of the fat off and we utilize it for everything. So it's that like subtle hammy porkiness that we kind of try to add on to anything we can. So we melt it and then we utilize it for everything. When you come to Tapa Toro, you're gonna feel like home. You know, we want to get to know the people that come into the door. Even if you come here for the 4th time or the first time, or you're from out of town, we want to make people feel at home. We want to give them that, the ambiance. What we try to create is that you're sitting in Spain and that you're having those, different dishes. So, we have our entertainment nightly, and to kind of bring the flamenco dancer or the live music, because it changes every once in a while, to feel as you're part of like a party. Even if you're a party of 1 or a party of 20, you feel like you're involved in the culture, and that's how we want to. That's what Tapa Toro is, a happy, lively place. We've been very fortunate that, since we have tapas, people can try, multiple dishes. Our mushrooms, our popurrí de setas, which is a roasted mushroom and it has a truffle foam, is one of those things that, vegetarians like and, meat lovers like because it's so hearty. Our tocino, which is our pork belly that we braise. It's a caribou pork that we braise nice and slow, and then we dredge in a little flour and we fry. So you have a good texture, and it's not like, ratio of fat to meat. It's pretty good. Those are the 2 dishes that stand out. Obviously, the paella is, one of those things that we have, I think perfected. We take a lot of pride in what we do, and paella is something that, for me, it takes me home as well. Anytime that, I used to visit my family, we'd make a big paella, and it doesn't matter what it was. If we had chicken, we put chicken. If we had this, we had that. So it was one of those things that, it's one of those connections that naturally brings me to this kind of cuisine. Our paella, from our imported bomba rice to our local seafood that we put in there. So we use our cedar key clams. We try to use, for our sofrito, our tomatoes are local. It's important to have that balance when we do import the hams and the rices. We want to, and the olive oil. We want to be authentic to that region and to that area in Spain. But we also want to provide, help the local economy as much as we can. As we want locals to come, we're going to, buy the tomatoes as long as we can, and buy the oranges when we can, and buy the, etc. So we want to, we like to go to the market and kind of go and see what's there. So I spoke a little bit about my mentors, meeting 3 individuals that have shaped me to be who I am. Chef Russell Scott, Nora Galdiano, Andreas Preusel. Those people have just shaped me to who I am. Every decision that I make and how I am now, it's based on how they, how they were and how they would handle situations. Like we were talking to Andreas last night. He's like, if it wasn't for those influences, Nora and Russell, and I say him as well, you wouldn't be able to you wouldn't be able to handle certain situations. My parents also being in the restaurant business is something that even as a kid you kind of learn when they're stressed out, how they handle certain things, and the basis of how individuals are. You don't want to blow up in someone's face and say, you want to be able to be calm and kind of lead the ship. You can't go too far left or everyone's going to fall right. So having that balance and those mentorships is something that I cherish forever, and we keep in contact and we talk very often.